Hello and welcome to Elections Interview 2013 with me, your host James Binns. Here with me today is the fantastic Pee-wee, who wants to be your next union president. Pee-wee, nice to meet you. I shook David's hand, so I'll shake yours. Tell the people at home what are your key policies?
Okay, so I mean I've got 22 areas on my manifesto.
Okay, let's not go through 22.
I was going to say I'll not go through all of those. Key things for me: re-engaging with the student body. I've been here for 4 years now. And I think SUSU has got progressively worse throughout my time at actually listening to students and engaging with students. I think we really need to. I always use nightlife as an example. We ask a survey, seems to be every 6 months nowadays, saying what do you want from your nightlife and things like that. But we're not asking students opinions, and we're not getting student input onto things like what acts we want, what we want nightlife to be, all that sort of thing. So Jamila is a prime example. Not many people turned up. Not many people know who Jamila is.
No.
It's a prime example of SUSU just doing something and not saying, students, is this what you want? So big one is communication with students, re-engaging with the student body, getting the SAB team out somewhere that they're visible, so encouraging them to answer emails or have meetings in somewhere that's very visible, get them out on concourse, talking to students, just so students are more engaged with SUSU and know who the people in SUSU are, how to engage with SUSU, exactly where to engage and all that sort of thing, and just building up more of a positive image for SUSU. I've got big stuff on university collaboration. So I think if you talk to any individual academic, they always really care about students, and they always care about students' views, and it's a very positive kind of discussion you have. But institutionally, there seems to be this kind of feeling that SUSU is this petulant child that kind of throws its toys out the pram every so often, and every so often they just give us a pat on the head, and that's fine.
Who's they? The SABs or?
No, the university.
The university. Okay.
Not individuals within the university, but just kind of just generally institutionally, there's that feeling. Okay. So it's really breaking down that feeling, making sure that we have a strong, positive relationship where we can actually negotiate things and work together on things. So elections is a prime example. And I'm not just limiting it to elections. I mean, I'm talking about big events like Pure Dance or things like that, SUSU TV, all this sort of stuff. But elections is a prime example. The university seem to kind of tolerate elections. And when you go in to do a shout out, half the lecturers are just like, sorry, what's going on, what are you doing? Oh, okay, yeah, just don't take too long, sort of thing. Whereas the university, it's vitally important that we have a democratically elected students' union. The university is legally bound to have a students' union, so they should be encouraging the fact that we have a very active students' union that engages the student body, and so the university should be pushing the elections as much as SUSU is.
And you don't feel they are?
No, not really. I think SUSU are kind of putting up advertising and things like that, and the university saying, yeah, sure, you can have advertising space. We don't mind you putting a poster up, but they're not saying to their lecturers, look, elections are going on, and please can you remind all your
I think that's a fair point. Yeah.
But it also works both ways.
Yeah.
So a prime example of this getting better is the Vice Chancellor's Christmas concert. Happened on the Red Brick area. SUSU crew helped out. Lots of students did it. It was organised by the Vice Chancellor. Great example of collaboration between the two of us. And I think that needs to happen more on both sides, and we need to really collaborate on a lot of things and get a very kind of adult relationship between us. But that also goes down to things like our student groups, JCRs and RSAs. JCRs don't know who their RSAs, resident supports agencies. So they're the guys in halls the party poopers in halls who say, no, you can't organise that event because you're not filled in a health and safety plan and things like that. If these were faces that people recognised and people talked to, if they were there at JCR training, for example, it'd be a lot easier for the JCRs to kind of understand where they're coming from. They can start talking about these things, talk about feasibility of events and things like that, talk about what the RSAs want from their events, and build up a stronger working relationship. The same goes for career destinations and student enterprise societies. Student enterprise, a lot of it is about career opportunities, volunteering opportunities abroad and things like that, helping people get placements and volunteering schemes. And career destinations kind of don't work with student enterprise, they almost work against them and do the same thing. So it's getting the university on all levels to work with SUSU rather than against SUSU.
There's something I want to ask you actually. During the presidential elections debate, you had a bit of a pop at the SABs, and that was quite popular, and the audience applauded. Do you think that I asked Dave Glani this actually, and he said yes. I mean, do you think that the reputation of the SABs has been damaged this year?
Yes.
Okay, and what can you do then to try and make it better?
I think, well, it's showing students that it's like the SUSU is a positive thing, and SUSU cares about them. I don't want to go too much into the differences between day and night, because I don't think that's really this isn't really the place to do it. But I think that one of the faults of the SABs, and especially second year SABs, is they get this kind of institutionalised mindset that it's about long-term plans and putting things in place for the future and things like that.
Yeah.
That's all well and good. Yeah. That's brilliant. Union Master Plan would be fantastic. If we could get a new building, that'd be great. But we really need to engage the students now and make changes, like real positive changes that the students notice now. Talking about like kind of, I think encouraging SUSU as a positive thing and the SABs as a positive thing is more about saying, for example, a small change that happened this year that like kind of within the past 2 years is council tax letters. You now don't need to go to your student office and get a council tax letter.
Yeah, that was a good thing that
because
they
SUSU
did.
pushed it.
Yeah.
That's a prime example of we should be making these little changes that make like students' lives easier.
Makes SUSU relevant.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So SUSU is making the little changes as well as doing the big 5-year plans and the 10-year plans and the like kind of new buildings and new facilities and all these sorts of things. They're all very important. But I really care about making a difference to the students now, so that the first years who are here and even the second years who are here can see the difference by the time that the SAB team have changed, and they don't kind of just think that no matter who they vote in, nothing's going to change and nothing's going to be different. What's the best way with engaging with students, do you think? I think an awful lot of it is through student groups. Okay. An awful lot of it. Kind of mixed between your last question and this question. I think that one of the reasons that there's such a negative view of SUSU is because a lot of the society presidents and the club captains and the like kind of JCR like officers and things like that, they feel disengaged with SUSU and they feel as though SUSU isn't actively trying to engage them, and it's often because it's the lack of communication thing. A society president, certainly a newer society president or someone that didn't have a very good handover from the previous president, they want to get funding from SUSU. They don't know where to find the funding forms, they don't know how to fill them in, there's all sorts of basic stuff and SUSU does organise training for societies and things like that, but it's kind of, if you turn up it's fine, if you don't turn up, oh well, shame on you, but never mind, sort of thing. I think we should be really organising a lot of in-depth training that actually doesn't teach...
That's right.
Losing my voice.
That's right.
That doesn't teach equality and diversity and stuff like that. It's great, but that's not the stuff, not necessarily the stuff that presidents really want to know to help them run their society. So it's things like agenda training, things like that. And if you positively engage the societies and the clubs and things like that and help them feel as though SUSU is giving them something, people talk about funding, but I think there's an awful lot of support and staff support and things like that that we can give these societies that we're not necessarily giving. If we can positively engage them, almost, not every student, but a lot of students, an awful lot of students, almost every student is engaged in a society or a club or a JCR. They're engaged in some way with some branch of SUSU. And if we... Without realising sometimes that it is SUSU. Exactly. Yeah? And if we give these kind of our student officers further down, and this is what the point I was making in the presidential debate, in that it is about every single person works very hard at their role. And if we get all these people to work hard at their role, and like if SUSU gives them, like shows them the benefits of, like, and gives them benefits, gives them certification, gives them training and project management, things like that, then these people, these society presidents and club captains and all of those will feel a lot better about SUSU, and that feeling will permeate. I believe that feeling will permeate down, and that the people in societies will go, like the presidents will be like, oh, I've just got to go to SUSU, but it's not, oh, I've got this chore, I've got to go to SUSU and do this thing. It's, oh, I'm just going to pop along to SUSU because I want to like start talking about this exciting new project that I'm doing. So you're the inclusive candidate, the one who's trying to get everyone involved. Definitely. I think we are a students' union. We're here for the students, and I think if SUSU doesn't try to actively engage all our students, then we're failing in our purpose almost. Okay. So I mean, what do you think about, like, you know, when you're talking about societies, you're obviously saying it's not all about money, it's about the support we can provide. What about like the surplus? I mean, do you think that should be reinvested straight into the societies or other projects, or should it be saved and reinvested in bigger projects, like you were kind of insinuating? Yes and no. Okay. I think the surplus we're running at the moment is quite large, and so some of it should be invested. Do you know roughly what it is? Evan White would tell you it's £1 million. It's not £1 million. No. There's some crazy figures going around at the moment. as a trustee, I can't remember what the latest set of figures. I mean, one of the problems with the surplus is that it never stays the same.
No, I've gathered that, because I've tried to find out as well, and it just changes.
It's also based on predictions for the year, so things like nightlife hasn't been doing so well, and actually sales in our catering departments are down as well, which means that we're not running as much surplus as we predicted, therefore the surplus is not what we said it would be.
But what would you do with it?
I think you need to keep some behind.
Yeah.
For the big projects and things like that, like reinvigorating the bridge, that was fantastic. But also, what happens if, like, I don't know, God forbid there was an earthquake or something like that, so it's something that's unforeseeable, but it could legitimately happen.
Yeah.
Or, I don't know, terrorism, something that's, like, the chances of happening are so small, but if it does happen, SUSU...
So there needs to be a pot there just in case.
There needs to be something, like, not for a rainy day, but something for a very disastrous day, so that we do have something to still provide for our students. But yes, I do think that more should be invested, but also I think a lot of the bigger projects, we are providing a service for the students of the university, and the university, again it comes back to this kind of better relationship with the university, but the university need to realise that we are a positive thing.
Yeah.
They do, but I don't think to the extent that I would like. And we need to really reinvest. We need to not reinvest. We need to get a lot more. The university to provide a lot more funding for stuff. Things like Wide Lane. I don't think SUSU should be paying to get better drainage to Wide Lane.
No.
More because it's not even a SUSU facility. It's just people use it from SUSU, but it's actually owned by the university. But it's something that the university should be caring about, and it's because it's something that's what their students are doing, and it's the potential, like it's the advertising for future students and things like that, recruiting for future years. They need to be investing in their facilities.
Okay.
And I think SUSU is not necessarily about our facilities. I think owning our facilities is like owning this building and things like that is fantastic, so we can do what we want. But SUSU is about more than just facilities. It's a lot more about representation and things like that, and providing services than it is necessarily about providing buildings.
Okay. Well, thank you for that, Pee-wee. I hope that's helping you at home. Just tell the guys why they should vote for you from today through to Friday.
Jesus.
I know, it's gone quick.
Why you should vote for Pee-wee? Because I am a vote for change, a vote for positive change. I'm not standing there saying everything about SUSU is negative. There's a lot of positives for SUSU, but we need to make sure that a lot more of what SUSU is doing is positive. We need to re-engage with the student body, get out there, start communicating, start getting students' opinions, and really raise the profile of SUSU. And I have the experience to do that, being a current trustee, being a performing arts officer, and I took performing arts from an area that was not very good and not very inclusive and not very engaging, to the level where it is now, which is still not entirely at the place that I wanted to be, but it's a 200,000 times better than it was when I picked it up. So I've got the experience, I want change, and I know how to make that change.
Excellent. Thank you for that, Pee-wee. Thank you for tuning in at home, guys. Don't forget, voting is open now through to Friday. Please do vote. www.susu.org/elections is the site to go to look at any of these guys' manifestos. Join us again next time. Thanks. Thanks,
Cheers.
Pee-wee.
Thank you.